Hello, 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 hello. Happy Sunday. Come on in the room with Pop Up Sundays with Crystal. Come on in the room, you guys. Come on in the room on today. How are you guys doing on today? Please like, tag, and share. I would like to say, first of all, that I do not own the copyrights to the music in the background that will be playing, and that I am not a paralegal. I'm not a lawyer. I am someone giving information, sharing my information with you all of my testimony of some things that I have went through um, with unexpected loss of my late husband. And so I wanted to get that out the way. I wanted to also let you all know that my books are all still available for ordering. You can order through Amazon or either through myself. And the first book is actually a prayer journal for widows. This one is for widows. It's God's love for the grieving widow. So if you know a widow, bless her with a 31-day prayer journal, okay? She would truly be blessed. It's God letting us know how important we are to Him and how He holds us very close to His heart, and He cares about us. You may be a new widow and may feel like He does not. You may be a new widower and feel like God does not care about you. But that's not the truth. That's a lie from the pits of hell. And He does care about you. Trust me, He cares about you, okay? So I wanted to get that out the way. It's a 31-day prayer journal, God's love for the grieving widow. My second book is There is Beauty in My Brokenness. This book here is where our love story began until the end, until death did us part. And it's an easy read, it's a quick read, and you will be blessed by this book as well. My third book is No One Plans to Fail, but Many Fail to Plan. And this one right here is my heart right now. It's where I'm explaining or giving my testimony of what all I've had to go through with being unprepared and being faced with having to go to probate and things like that. And I most certainly want you all to, sorry you guys, I have to fix my clothes, want you guys to avoid having to go to probate, having to go through probate. And so I know a lot of us think that if we have a will that we would avoid probate, but it will not, you will not avoid probate. So you want to make sure that you go ahead and get those things in place and in order, and don't procrastinate about getting those things in place and in order, you guys, because we just never know. Well, I lost my husband unexpectedly from Sunday to Sunday, and he was gone unexpectedly. And so because we don't know, we need to prepare just like we prepare for everything else. We prepare for, if our car needs insurance, we don't like to pay for things that we don't necessarily feel like we will be affected by. But because we don't know, um, we need to be prepared so that when things unexpectedly happen to us, we will be prepared for the unexpected. Okay, so I just wanted to, hey cousin, just say that because we just never know. So I was talking to my mom this morning on my way to going to church, and I just recently lost an aunt, my aunt B, and as I was speaking with my mom, she was telling me that she went to visit her and how she just kept staring into this one area, the eyes not blinking or anything. She just kept her eyes focused on something that she could see that they couldn't see. And so I think about this song when Carlton Pierce would say that when a person is exiting this body and going into glory, how they are fixed on what they can see on that other side when they cross the other side. And I said, yeah, there's no telling who came to get her, because we have someone that comes to get us, to usher us into the kingdom of God. And so I said, it's no telling, but there's no turning back. And so our family reunion is going to be next weekend. And so I just thought to myself as I laid in the bed and thought about her, was that what a great reunion she's experiencing on the other side, with all the loved ones that have went ahead of her, and now she has joined with them. And what a great family reunion is she having, rejoicing, being completely whole, no sickness in that body that she has now, and just completely whole, just serving the Lord and just basking in the things of God. No more worries, no more hurt, no more pain, no more dealing with this life here on this side. And I think about her naming all of us. She named, I would say, a good 80% of the her siblings' kids, and so she named me. And so as I was thinking about that, and I have decided since I lost my husband to start being so grateful and thankful for the time that I had with my loved ones that have already exited, with the time to be able to show your love and your appreciation to that person, that you have no regrets, but that you can just say, you know what, we had the greatest times. And I think about how rich I am, how richly blessed I am to have the family that I have. I always tell God, if you change your mind and you decide you want to have another world, please put me in my same family, because that's how much my family means to me. I am so blessed to have the aunts, to have the uncles. I don't know anyone else that is as rich as I am with the aunts and uncles that I had. They were amazing to us. They loved on us. We felt like they were our parents as well as, our parents were to us, because they were just good to us. And I'm so thankful and I'm so grateful that I had that I had the experience of having aunts and uncles like that. So I'm just so grateful that, hey Sam, how are you, sweetie? That I had that opportunity. So please keep her three sons lifted up in prayer, as the rest of the family lifted up in prayer, because this is a great loss for us. And just keep us all lifted up in prayer, and please do that, okay? And so I wanted to say that. And I said it before, but some of you may not have been on here, but the way my parents raised us up, and it was kind of like, well, my mom, they raised us up like she was raised up. And so they have this close bond like that siblings I've never seen have before. And so they would almost practically turn on their own children for their siblings. That's how tight they are. And so they raised us up to be loving and kind towards one another. They all had babies during the same time. My mom was telling me about, and my Aunt B would tell me about this too. She would tell me about the times when she had her son Aronsky, and how some kind of way he was probably a week old, in the bed, in the middle of a king size bed, and I for some reason had got this baby. My arms are wrapped around his neck, and I am like dragging the baby towards the living room. And so everybody went in a panic, and they just stopped, like don't nobody say nothing, don't move, just like, come on, baby, come on, bring me my baby. And so it's things like that. I remember she was a great hairstylist, and she could press your hair and put a finger wave in it. I mean, I have so many fond memories of my Aunt B. And so I honor her today, and I thank God for her today. I thank God that she was in my life, and that I can just have great memories of her. Just great memories of her. I look so much like her, and so I remind myself of her a lot when I look in the mirror, and and so I just honor her on today, and I'm just so thankful and grateful for the time that God allowed her to be here to be such a great inspiration in all of our lives. And so I just honor her on today. And again, lift her three boys up in prayer. I hear that it is very difficult to lose a mom. I still have my mom, so I can only imagine what it's like to lose your mom. And so those of you that still have your moms, take the time to love on your moms while you have them, because the people that don't have their moms any longer wish that they had them. I mean, any loss, you always wish that you had that loss, because you don't realize how valuable and how important they are to you until they're gone, and that's including a spouse. You get laxated, and you just kind of be like, you know, comfortable, because you feel like you've had this relationship for so long that you get real comfortable with it, and you don't realize that when you could be taking them for granted, that you're taking them for granted, you know. So just love on them as much as you can. Love on them as much as you can. Oh wow, Sandra, that's something else, isn't it? It's something else. Yeah, I see you with your family, and you remind me a lot of my family. My mom is, look, and she's a blessing. She'll get up and start dancing and everything. I watch your mom on Facebook, and you guys just shower her with love and care, and you guys are going to be greatly rewarded, you know, because you've been such a blessing to your mom, that God is going to honor that, and he is going to give you long life for being so good to your mom. And so my mom is 89 years old. She will be 90 next year. And as I was telling the young ladies earlier today, that she is healthier than me and my siblings. So that are still left. And so I am truly, truly blessed to still have my mom. And I'm just so thankful. I'm so rich with family and good people. So we know, in saying that, I want to say this. Don't take your loved ones for granted that they're going to be here all the time, because we never know when we can lose a loved one. And so you don't want to be that person with a lot of regret, or hanging over the casket crying because you didn't get that thing together. And I'm not saying that you have to talk to this person all the time, but if you have any unforgiveness in your heart, the word says that how can you be forgiven unless you forgive? And so if you have a lot of that that you're holding against that brother or sister or relative or friend, release it to the Lord and allow the Lord to heal you. By you releasing that thing, the Lord can heal you from that hurt and that pain. But if you continue to hold on to it, it will start eating your body like a cancer. And so that's how serious it is to hold ought against your brother or your sister, or against people that you just you feel like did you wrong. Let it go. Trust me, you will be delivered if you let it go. Because I know you love those people and you're just being stubborn, but it's not worth it. Because again, I'll say this: in order to be forgiven, you have to forgive. And so do your part. Don't worry about them, but do your part so that it won't be on you. Let that person know, you know what? If I offended you, if I hurted you, whatever it is, I'll take the blame for it. Even if it's not your fault, take the blame for it so that you can go ahead and start moving forward. Because, listen, life is too short. I don't care if you are 100 years old, life is entirely too short. Sunday, somebody call. Everybody knows that I'm on my 3:30 line, but somebody's gonna call me every Sunday at after 3:30. But so that's why it was the breakup in there. But yeah, just get it off yourself. You know that let them know, hey, I love you. I don't know what it is, or can we talk about it? Can we set aside our differences? We don't even have to have conversation about it, but you know what? Can you forgive me if I offended you? Because it was never my intentions to offend you. So, you know, just go in like that and ask God to give you favor with that person before you approach that person or speak to that person. Because God's favor always covers that thing that wants to buck up against you or be rebellious. Like, you know what, I don't want to hear it. I don't, this, that, and that person, because we do fight against principalities and of the darkness. And so a lot of times the enemy would love to get in our children, get in our family members, get in our siblings and different things like that to cause confusion within the family. And so we want to make sure that we put our foot on the devil's neck and give him a black eye and tell him, no, not my family. I will not release my family to you. You have to go with boots down on the ground, running towards your family for your family's protection, for your protection. We can't get the attitude that, oh, well, that's them. I'm going to let them live their lives. No, those are our children, and we are to fight for our children just as well as our grandparents and our parents fought for us. Listen, the promise is from generation to generation to generations that our children will be saved. And I know how my grandmother prayed for me, and on her back, on the backs of my grandparents, is where I am where I am today. Because listen, somebody has to be that person that was mistreated. And there was times when my parents and my grandparents and on both sides could have to drink out of faucets and that were said for color. And they had to go to the top floor to the movies and different things like that. And so there is a lot of that trying to come back. And so it's like, how dare you, enemy, try to raise your head up? And he knows that if I try to divert them through their children, because you guys know how we are about our kids. That's those of us that have children, godchildren, I don't care what it is, godchild or whatever. We are serious about our kids. We do not play about our children, our godchildren. whoever God has placed in your life. Just because you physically did not have any children does not mean that God did not place. He said the woman that did not bear any children had more children than the one that bare. And so you want to make sure that we don't give up on them and that we don't always be available for them so that they will not know what it is to go to God for what they need. Because if we keep stepping in every time they have a need and rescuing them, when we're gone, they're not going to know what to do. Allow, I don't know. I think, Marissa, you all allow, allow us, each one of us individually, to be able to have our own, what do you say, testimony, or and I know you guys might be like me, where everything that I didn't have, I wanted my kids to have. Of course, you want your children to always have more than what you had, right? So I don't know, Marissa, I still hear you on, sweetie. I don't know how you got on. I don't know how you get on my live. I'm just gonna go on and bring you on my live one day. but and if I try to press remove, it'll block you as a user. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to block you. So maybe you can go out and come back in. I hope you're still on, Marissa. Let me know if you're still on, because I did something. I pressed some button. I pressed some button. But yeah, just, take the time to, love on your kids, but at the same time, teach them what to do. Teach them, like I always say, I did raise my kids in the fear and the admiration of the Lord. And so I'm expecting for them, if they departed, to come back. That is my hope, that is my prayer, and that is the promise of God, that He has them. I can tend to be a worrier, especially when it comes to my kids. I can tend to be a worrier. So God is really working with me on not worrying and realizing that God is sovereign and that He is in control no matter what things look like. What does the word say concerning my life? Concerning my children's life, and I have to know that He has them. I would love to see them serving the Lord while I'm here, but sometimes it takes a death for them to get in their rightful place. But you know what? It's all in God's timing, and I just have to know and rest in the fact that He has them. Okay. So I don't know where all of that came from. I came on here to talk about this book. Don't forget, if you have not ordered your book yet, No One Plans to Fail, but Many Fail to Plan. Listen, you guys, we have to get these affairs in order and in place so that we will not be scrambling around trying to figure out stuff later on in life, when we have an unexpected death. Okay, so we want to be prepared. Let me see. So if you guys notice, every week I've been coming on here, there has been a loss since the last time I came on, from week to week to week, unexpectedly. I was looking at a young lady's service yesterday at church, and I had not even realized that she had passed away. And I was like, wow, isn't that something, for you to see someone and then they're gone, in that next couple of weeks. And so, what my heart is to inform and to educate you all on getting your affairs in order, and also thinking about this. When you leave here, not only you getting your affairs in order, but when you leave here is your election for sure. Have you accepted Christ as your Lord and Savior, so that when you leave this side of heaven, that you will be going to a place for sure of where you know you will live eternal life. And that's just as important as anything else that I talk about, is that, he says your works is like filthy rags. So it's not like what you do, that you go to church and that you do this, that, and that, and that it's about accepting Christ as your Lord and Savior. And so that is very important to me as well. So find you a church home, find you somewhere to go. Stop making excuses about pastors only want your money, because you're one that's not giving them no money anyway. So go ahead and find your church home so you can be under an umbrella of protection. Listen, I was listening to the minister today, and he was talking about how, his wife was talking about the blood that the on the post that God did to protect the babies, that the male babies. And so as I thought about that, and I was like, wow, what would we do without the protection of God's blood on us right now, because of so much going on in the world, so much wickedness going on in the world? We need the hedge of protection over us. And if you're not somewhere and you're not rooted and grounded somewhere, it's a possibility that you be lost in this wilderness of what we're getting ready to come and go through here in a few years or so. And so you want to be protected. You want to be under an umbrella of somebody that is accountable for you. And so, and I get it. A lot of people stopped going to church during COVID. They just kind of stopped. And then they wasn't going before then, right? So there was a lot of excuses. But find you a church home. You guys, I don't know how you guys do it without having leadership over your lives. Someone that you can go to, that you can talk to when you're having a difficult time. We can't church ourselves. We can't teach ourselves some of the things that we need to be up under a covering, so that we will be able to teach our children what to do when they find themselves in difficult times like we find ourselves in now. They need to know what to do in a difficult time. I often think about my children. I believe they know what to do if they found themselves in a difficult time, but I don't believe my grandchildren know what to do if they find themselves in a difficult time. So I would love for them to know, okay, I'm in a difficult time. Even though I talked to my oldest granddaughter, and she was telling me, yep, Granny, I've been praying. And I was just so happy to hear that when she just said, Granny, I need a job. Can you pray for me? And so I'm just so honored that she took the time to say, Granny, can you pray for me? Because I need you to pray for me. And so, we have to take the time. We have to set some time apart to pray for our children, to pray for our grandchildren, because that's what our grandparents did for us. They were on their knees. Sometimes when I get on my knees, I be trying to think to myself, Lord Jesus, I don't know how grandma did this every morning, but I'm trying to think, our knees is aching and hurting, and you can't hardly get up off the floor. And I'm like, Lord, you just gonna have to hear this prayer with me laying down. And I believe he still honors it just because I'm laying down. But sometimes I'll go ahead and get on my knees, or I'll feel like laying out on the floor. But then I'm trying to get up, and I'm like, Lord Jesus. But our grandparents went in hard for us, you guys. You guys know those grandparents did not play. They went to war in the spirit and praying for us. And that's why we're still here today. We're still able to endure today, but we have to teach them so that they will know, because we don't want that legacy to be lost with the generations behind us. They need to know how to pray. I need them to start praying for me right now. So I need them to be, girded up enough to be able to say the prayer, because it's nothing like a little baby praying for you. It's like that prayer gets through so quick. And so you want to make sure that you know, just take an account of you not just disassembling yourself from the family of God. You know, find your church home that you can go to, and so that you will have a covering, because we most definitely need, I'll say it again, a covering over our lives, just like the blood up on the doorposts. That's what we need today. Trust me, that's what you need. You need a shepherd to be over you. And so where you can have some accountability as well. Sometimes we don't want accountability. It's like, you know, okay, then the Lord, you know, will not cause it to come up on you, but would allow something to come up on you where you have no choice but to go to Him and to pray, because He means He's going to have His children that He has picked and chosen to be in the kingdom of God. So you want to make sure that you go back. I want to go back and say, after losing my aunt, my mom had went to the hospital. And so when someone called her, it was like, yeah, well, I heard she passed away. And she's like, no, she hadn't passed away. And come to find out she had passed away. So my mom was like, well, I just seen her. And she's, you know, I just seen her. And so it was kind of like, you know, it was expected, but at the same time, not expected for her to go on and go. I, to my mom, I would say. Some of the others knew that she was on her way exiting out of this life here. And so I just say this, that it's so important that you get your affairs in order and in place because of us just not knowing. And not only that, um, if you guys can attest, there have been so many people that have lost a loved one or have had to go to a service. It's week after week after week. And so it's becoming to be the norm to lose a loved one. Um, it's sad to say, but it's becoming to be the norm. Like, oh, that person passed away too. Like, you know, Malcolm and all those different people that passed away last week. And so my thing is this, is you want to make sure that you have these things in place and in order, because we just never know. We're always saying, hey, um, I've had people approach me and say, hey, you know, me and my husband have watched you, but we're young. We're just in our 50s. And so death has no age on it, right? And so because it has no age on it, is why it's so essential that you get these things in place and in order. And so if you do not have it, and I know I get it, it's expensive. But listen, there's going to become a time where I'm not going to be coming on here giving this information for free any longer. It's going to be a cost of a service to be able to get the information that I'm giving to you guys for free now. So you want to make sure that you go ahead, start getting some things in place, whether you get a lawyer, whether you get a paralegal to do it, whether you do it yourself. I did mine myself. And so, listen, while it's fresh in my mind, you guys better take heed and give me a call or something. Again, as a disclosure, I'm not a lawyer or a paralegal. I am just someone that has experienced this, and I have educated myself to so that I could educate others. But there is going to be a cost later, not long from now. So I want you guys to go ahead and look into it. I know everybody keeps saying how expensive it is to have a trust. But I'm going to tell you something. It is way more expensive for you to leave that loved one unsecured, where they have to go through probate and different things like that. And so California, if your deed does not say joint tenant with survivalship, then you want to make sure that it says that. Go to your county clerk's office to get it checked. If you have a spouse and your spouse is not on your property, if you have separate property and that spouse is not on your property, it is essential that you go and have that spouse's name added. If you married into a house where your loved one, your spouse had the house already and you moved in with that spouse, you need to make sure that you have those things in place and in order, because it will go to the next of kin. If your spouse was to pass away and only your spouse's name was on that house, it will go to next of kin versus going to you. If you have already lost your spouse, it is essential that you take that spouse's name off of the home, off of the bank accounts, off of everything that you have. Remove the name so that if your kids find themselves in probate, they will be able to, it won't be so bad where it may end up going to blended family and different things like that. Even the beneficiaries, if you still have your spouse as your beneficiary on your 401k, on your life insurance and different things like that, you need to remove that spouse's name and take the death certificate and remove it and put the person that you want to be the beneficiary. Okay, make sure that you go back and change those things, because I know how we can kind of want to hold on because that was our husbands, that was our wives, and so we tend to want to hold on to that. Even our parents, we like, you know what? It's something about holding that person's name. I don't know what it is, but it is. And so if you had a retirement or different things like that, you want to make sure that you remove that spouse's name. And you want to avoid opening up a probate at all costs, because listen, there's a lot of people that have blended families. There's a lot of people that may have a lot of debt. And so you want to remove that person's name so that you don't end up being responsible for that bill, or, we just never know. My husband had a $70,000 helicopter bill and $100,000 medical bill. And so the medical bill was dropped, but the helicopter bill still stands. And so it's just important that we take care of these things so that you won't be losing and spending insurance money trying to pay your loved one's debt. And so make sure that you do that. For those of you that do not own property, but you have a check coming in, you have an income coming in, you go to work, you have a car note, different things like that, it is essential that you get a power of attorney like today. You can go to different sites and get your power of attorney, because we never know if we were to become incapacitated. Can you imagine this? Say, for instance, my sibling lived with me and I became incapacitated, and me and my sibling shared the house note. And so that sibling would not be able to get my income or my money from the bank, because guess what? I'm incapacitated. And once you become incapacitated, then there's nothing that you can do past that point. And so sometimes incapacitation can be two different things. It could be with just you forgetting or becoming, have Alzheimer's or dementia or something like that. It could just be physically in your body. But either way, you want to have your power of attorney so that your power of attorney would be able to go to the bank. Your power of attorney will be able to pay your bills until God gives you your healing. And so we just never know. But if you become incapacitated to where you lose your memory, there is nothing that you can do at that point. So you want to make sure that you go ahead and get these things in place. So in case we become incapacitated or we lose a loved one unexpectedly, we will have our things in decent and in order. God loves order. And so trust me, don't think that it's only order in certain things. It's order in everything. And trust me, he would not have me come on Sunday after Sunday after Sunday if it wasn't that he wanted to let you all know so that he would get the glory out of it. Not me, but that he would get the glory out of you having these things in place and in order. He says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So that's the order. And so you want to make sure that not only do you try to live your life on course in every other way, but you want to have this in place as well because it's important. Because trust me, it's because, he said it's the lack of knowledge. It's because of the lack of knowledge. I wish someone had been telling me these things. I also realized that I went through this for this purpose, for this time of my life, because God knew that I would share it and that I would tell it. And so that's why I believe he allowed me to go through it, because I usually have all of my stuff in order and in place. Like, I cannot believe, I still say to myself, I cannot believe we didn't have this or we didn't have that. I'm believing God that my mortgage is going to be paid off. It's difficult to have, you guys know it's difficult when you have two people. It's difficult when you have 3 or 4 people to pay a house note, right? So can you imagine my position of taking on a whole house note and everything else by myself, a stay-at-home wife? And so it's difficult to, um, it's hard. It's really hard. It's hard, but God is good and he's faithful. He's faithful to his word. I stand on his promises for my life. And he really watches out for us widows. Like, I would not give my widow benefits up for nothing because he really looks out for us. I'm so grateful. On yesterday, I had the opportunity to meet some neighbors. We had like a block party on the opposite end of the block, and it was just a blessing to meet neighbors and people that just really so kind, so sweet. And I need that because, being alone is, you need that support. I'm so thankful for my neighbor, Paul, next door. I'm thankful for Raul across the street. They look out for me, and I'm so grateful. I'm richly blessed to have the neighbors that I have. And I'm thankful, that I found out that my sister lived down the street from me. Um, and I'm just so blessed to right now to have them in my life for such a time as this. And so, now I can feel like if I have a problem or if I have an issue, I can call them to say, hey, I'm having a problem. I need somebody to take me to the hospital, or I need you. And so that is so important. So if you know a widow or a widower that you could uh, help them. Don't just help them the first 30 days of their losing their loved one. Call and check on them. Even if they seem like they're doing okay, call them and see what is going on. A lot of us, I would say a good half a dozen of us, had all lost our husbands around the same time. We're going on our 4-year mark. And so it's been heavy for us. These last couple of months, it's been real heavy. It's anniversaries coming up. Their death anniversary is coming up. I would say it's probably 8 or 9 of us that lost our husbands in August. And so I started it out. I lost my husband August 4th. And so I'm going on my 4-year mark. But please, you guys, don't think that everything is so great and wonderful that you don't take the time to call me and check on me and say, hey, Crystal, how you doing? How is it going? Um, hey, is there anything you need? Can I send you something? Okay. Please, just if you know another widow or widower, for you fellas out there that know guys that lost their spouses, check up on them. Don't think that they're just okay because a certain period of time has passed. No, that's not the truth. We need you guys, and we don't need you guys to give up on us now because there has been 4 years. Because a lot of times you guys try to push us to move forward and like forget about what you've had. Okay, so it's 4 years, but I was married for 34 years. So how am I going to just be like, okay, well, now let me forget about my husband? And so um, there's still a lot of healing that I have to do, especially with us losing loved ones over again, friends and family, on top of us grieving for our spouses. Um, it sometimes can be a setback for us when we experience death again. And so keep us all lifted up in prayer. Pray for them people. If you told them in the beginning that you were going to go and cut their grass and if you needed anything, still keep that the same. Don't just tell them people that in the beginning and then you forget about it. Still say the same thing. Still look out for them. If they need some work done, I have some light bulbs that are out that I will get up on the ladder and actually put them up there. But for those of you that know there's widows and widowers out there, don't just forget about them. They may come on here, they may be smiling and everything, but they're hurting like hell. So please don't just avoid or think that they're in a safe place and that they're okay. Because there are some that are really out there that are still struggling. Okay. So until you can get these things in place, and you have to take an evaluation of what is important to you and what is not important to you. And so I know a lot of us take vacations, we drive Benzes, we drive Lexuses, we have it going on. But we wear our Gucci purses, we have it all the way going on. At the same time, you think that getting a trust done is too expensive. And you can find somebody to do it for you under 2,000, right? I know people that can do them. I've offered my help to say, hey, if you need to sit side by side, I can help you to get it done. And then you can go and take it to the lawyer to get it done. And to get it looked over so you can make sure that you have it, together. But while it's fresh in my mind right now, please take advantage of getting it done, you guys. Please, 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 especially those of you that have blended family. And remember, go and get those loved ones removed from the home, removed from the deed, because not only will you have problems if your kids find themselves having to go through probate, you at the same time, I lost my train of thought. At the same time that they would be having to go through probate, it just opens it up. It makes it even worse. It makes it bad. That if you still had your loved ones, then they have to go scrambling around to get that death certificate of that other person because you got to have the death certificate. So you want to make sure that you go ahead and get it in place. You can't afford it. If you can't afford it, okay, don't just do nothing. Go ahead and go for it. Go for it, getting it done yourself. Go for it. Trust me, it's not as hard as it Sounds like it is. The only way it would probably be hard is if you have a lot of property, if you have businesses and different things like that. I suggest that you go ahead and get it done professionally if you have a lot of stuff. But if you just have your house and different things like that, you can get it done. You can do it. Trust me, you can do it. Again, I have said I have been offering this service for a while for free, but I will be charging. I will be giving classes on how to do your trust in the future. And so you guys want to take advantage of this free opportunity to get it done now so that you don't have to be, I know what it came back to me. You don't want to be running around it because getting death certificates to people that have already passed away. And then, you're running around because you didn't remove that person. You have to prove that that person is no longer here. So you'll be running around trying to get death certificates for everybody that's dead, that's named on the house. And so you want to make sure that you change that. And if you own your car, you want to make sure that you go to the DMV and put a beneficiary down on your car, because that's even a problem. If you own a car and it goes through probate, everything would have to go through probate in order to be issued out to the way that, what your wishes are or what the state said. So if you don't make that decision, trust me, Congress and the state has already put in place the things to be done if you don't make a decision. So either way, there needs to be a decision made, because there will be one made for you. And that's with that healthcare directive as well. You want to make sure you have your healthcare directive. Who do you want the doctors to be the one to have the say so over your lives? If you want to be resuscitated or not. What are your wishes? Do you want to be on the ventilator? What are your wishes? If you do not state yourself, if it's not in black and white and you don't state yourself what your wishes are, the state will make the decisions for you. And that's including finding yourself in probate. So until you can get these things in place and in order, don't be like me thinking, oh, well, I've been married this long period of time and that automatically I'm the wife and everything is just going to come to me. No, it has to be in black and white or it never existed. And so, again, I'll say this. Probate is a $2 billion a year industry in California. So we want to make sure that we keep the wealth within the family and that we do not disinherit our children from having what you worked so hard for. So how about that? You have somebody, you worked so hard for what you had, and then somebody else get what you worked so hard for. That's not right. So you want to make sure. And I know some people are common law that may be coming on here or may be on here that are common law in a common law relationship. And you probably feel like, you know what, I don't care. If something happened to this person, then I don't care. I don't want the responsibility. Well, guess what? I don't want this responsibility neither. But to keep a roof over my head, I had to take on the responsibility that I didn't want to take on. And so, listen, in order for you to have a roof over your head, you can put these things in place where you don't have to feel like you are taking on all the responsibility of everything. And if you feel like, well, there's not enough money anyway, and with the two of us, we can't even hardly pay the house note. Okay, well, listen, you need some life insurance. You need some life insurance that's a successful amount that it will pay off some of those things so that that loved one, when that loved one is no longer here, you will still be able to carry on as if they were still here. So I was really ignorant with insurance. I watched a lot of Lifetime movies back in the day. And so I just feel like people that had big policies were going to have every intention on knocking that loved one off. So that's why I said I was ignorant to it, because that's what I thought. Although I knew that insurance was very important, I had no idea if I had any inkling of an idea. I knew I didn't want to have a fish sale. I knew I didn't want to sell dinners to lay my loved one to rest. So that's why I had insurance. Now, I didn't know the whole thing about why you should have some insurance. That was just my only reason. Okay, I don't want to have to do a GoFundMe in order to lay my loved one to rest. So that's why we had life insurance. And my aunt owned the mortuary. So we knew, I grew up knowing that you should have life insurance. So I always have had life insurance forever. And so, but I never thought that someday that I would be living off of life insurance, right? So I believe my husband must have had a better understanding of that. But I'm telling you this for a reason. I'm telling you this because, listen, if you have life insurance through your job and different things like that, and we're getting older, and so it's important that we have life insurance. But if you have it through your job, and then say you quit your job, I mean you retire, are they going to allow you to keep that policy going after you retire? If you were like me, you have a spouse, and your spouse has the life insurance on with their job, their medical, everything that my husband had left when he left. So the medical gone out the door. So the insurance out the door. So you want to make sure that you cover yourself, get you some life insurance, get a significant amount so that you would be able to carry on, especially those of you that don't work, that stay at home, or maybe retired, or that really, really rely on that spouse. Just think about, if something was to happen to you, how would that loved one be able to continue to pay the note, continue to pay the rent, continue to pay the car note? So you want to have some life insurance, and it can be expensive now because we're older, but I know there is some younger people on here as well. You want to make sure our adult children and our grandchildren have some life insurance. If something was to happen to any one of my children or my grandchildren, I could not afford to do a service for them. And I'm hearing now that cremation is even just as expensive. And so we want to make sure that we put these things in place, talk to our adult children about getting life insurance, about their children having life insurance. And so that when they get a certain age, they'll at least have some dividends sitting, waiting for them. That will be some help. So until you can get these things done, get a composition book and write these things down so that your loved one will know what to do. If you think about it, take a moment to Selah and just think to yourself, if something was happening to me today, even if you have all of these things in place, if something was to happen to me today, would that person that's in charge know where to get your policy from, know who to call? Now I found out, even if you die at home, if you're not, you got to be picked up by the mortuary or something. And I didn't know that. It's like they're not, they like, okay, whoever you have as a mortuary, like my aunt is already at the mortuary and she just passed away. So it's kind of like, okay, what are your wishes? What do you want to be done when you leave here? Where is the important keys to the safety deposit box? the special mailbox, the post office, the different things like that. Where are those things at so that if you become incapacitated, your loved ones will know what to do? And if you were to leave here today, your loved ones will know what to do, whoever you put in place to get it done. So, in a book for now, get a book where you write this down. And I know a lot of times we're very personal. We don't want our people to know our information. But listen, write it down so that you can just, if you don't want them to know, just write it down. And so write down all social security numbers, because I've known people that have been married for over 30 years and they did not know their spouse's social security number. All social security numbers, all bank accounts, ATM numbers, all passwords to email, and all financial accounts. Please make sure that there is beneficiaries on all accounts, 401ks, your bank accounts. Please write down who your insurance company is through and where you want to go as far as who's supposed to pick up your body. All Apple Pay, Cash App, Bimbo, PayPal, Zelle, and all other financial accounts must be written down. Your estate plans, please have that somewhere where the person that's going to be next in charge can get to it. Get your revocable living trust. Get you a power of attorney, and make sure that your deed says joint tenant with survivors. I know a lot of you out there think that you don't have your deed, but your deed is, you should be able to get it. Go to the county clerk's office and request it, and make sure that it says joint tenant with survivorship. It's important that you have that, because I thought that I didn't know that information. And so I later found out that I had actually signed my rights away to the house, and that's how I found myself in probate. And so the underwriter and the people, and you're so desperate, you just want them to, you do whatever they ask you to do. You don't take the time to read the fine print of everything that you're signing, because you're signing so many papers when you're getting a house. And so we just don't read. And so I found myself where I had signed my rights away, and where my deed could have said joint tenant with survivorship, and I would automatically inherit the house by it saying that. So you don't want it to just say joint tenant. You want it to say with survivorship. The wording is very, very important. So you want to make sure of that, that it says that. And again, if you already know that you have a loved one, whether it be a parent, a relative that you might be taking care of their personal business, it's important that you go ahead and let them know that that person is deceased, that you take the death certificate. And when I did mine and became the successor of interest, it was during the time COVID was still kind of in, and I don't think they're doing it. There's a lot of programs that are not going to be available any longer in October concerning the housing. And there's a lot of programs that are going to be cut, I have gotten word of. And so we want to go ahead and get our affairs in order, because you don't want it to be where it's even more difficult for you to try to get your things in place in order. Okay. So I pray that you guys heard something today that would bless your household. Please like, share. Don't be selfish. If you have your trust, still like, share, give the information, spread the information, because what happens is it's us as the African American race that was not educated on this. And so let somebody else know that that they need to get these things in place so that they can avoid going to probate and fighting for what they worked so hard. But they may be like me, I just didn't know. No one told me. And so while you may know already, share the information, okay? All right. Love you guys. And I'll see you guys next Sunday if the Lord says the same. All right? All righty. Bye bye. I like this song. I'm a room speaks for there is complete. Yes, for the cares of this world. For every woman, man, boy, and girl, I pray we are blessed with God's grace, mercy, and peace. Matter the highs and the lows, the seasons of life may bring. And the Spirit of God breathes and marvelous things. And when we stand in side by side, circumstances call our divine. I pray we are blessed. I pray we are blessed. I pray we are blessed with God's grace, mercy, and peace. I receive it, and I believe I can see it on you. I receive it, I receive it, and I believe I can see it on you too. I receive it, I receive it, and I believe I can see it on you too. Grace, mercy, and peace. I receive it, see it on you too. I receive it, I receive it, and I believe I can see it on you too. Mercy and peace. Hey, Elder. I see you just popped on. Go back and watch the replay and like, tag, and share for me. Love you guys. All right. I'll leave you guys with this song. May our God watch over us while we are absent from one another. May our God watch over us while we are absent one from another. Into the next, my God, to receive it. May our God watch over us while we are absent from one another. Yeah, God knows we need Him to watch over us. Wow. Rest from the cares of this world for every woman, boy, and girl. Yes. You are a man on earth. I say that to myself. I have to do rest in the things of God. Cares of this world. Every woman, man, boy, and girl, I pray we are blessed with God's grace, mercy, and peace. God bless you guys. Love you guys.